As football fans, we tend to gravitate towards certain prospects over others during draft season. So while I plan on revealing mine during this video, I will say I'm not going to be doing guys in the top 10 to 15 players because that's way too easy. I'm not going to include guys like Kyle Pitts and Penei Sewell and Jamar Chase and Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson, other guys I'm a big fan of, even Trey Lance, got to put Trey Lance in there. But yeah, I'm not going to be including those guys. So for each player, I'm going to give 3 things I like about them and my biggest concern for all of them as well. So with that being said, here are my 10 favorite NFL draft prospects that I like more than most people in 2021. Number 1, I've talked about this guy before. I'm sure you guys know I like him by now, but Elijah Moore, wide receiver from Ole Miss. So Elijah Moore spent 3 years at Ole Miss, just came off a season of nearly 1,200 receiving yards and 8 touchdowns in 8 games. So number 1, he has great hands. He had 2 drops last year and 10 total drops on 200 catchable targets during his collegiate career, according to PFF. Number 2, he can take the hits. He's very tough. He gets hit by safeties, linebackers over the middle, and still finds a way to hang on to the ball more times than not. I definitely love tough slot receivers, and Elijah Moore definitely fits that mold. And number 3, he's great with the ball in his hands. He breaks tackles routinely. In his 8 games last year, he broke 18 tackles. He forced 18 missed tackles last season, which adds to the elusiveness that he possesses. My one concern, and I really don't have one to be honest with you guys, but if I had one legit concern, it would be his size, which is 5'9". Can he play on the outside? I feel like he probably could, but we'll find out when he gets to the NFL. Number 2, I have Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, linebacker from Notre Dame. Maybe he goes in the top 15, we'll have to find out, but it is a possibility, I will say. But JOK is built differently compared to most linebackers. He played in 2 seasons and put up respectable numbers in 2019 and 2020. He had 142 tackles in 25 career games and had some very impressive coverage ability as well. Number 1, his coverage ability is next level for someone listed as a linebacker. He's played over 330 snaps in the slot in each of the past 2 seasons and allowed a 61 completion percentage in 2020. PFF gave him a coverage grade of 82.3 in 2020 as well. Number 2 is his speed. He did not run a 40 at his pro day, which is disappointing, but he did run a 6.83 cone and a 4.15 shuttle, which is great to see. He has the quickness to close in on ball carriers, get an angle when some linebackers can't, and has the ability to stick with a lot of slot receivers, which most linebackers cannot do at a high level. Number 3 is his versatility. Coaches love versatile players, and JOK can definitely give you that. He recorded snaps at slot corner, in the box, defensive line, and outside corner, and even free safety at some points as well, in that order. So if you're a coach that craves versatility, then this guy will definitely give you that. So my concern is clearly his size for a linebacker at 221 pounds, but my concern on the field is shedding blocks against offensive linemen. With his type of frame, we'll have to see how he can adjust to that at the NFL level. Number 3, I have Jalen Phillips, the edge player from Miami. So Jalen Phillips, talent-wise, is probably the best edge defender in this class, at least in my opinion, and many others as well. The problem is that he's dealt with numerous injuries and once retired from football in 2018. He did transfer to Miami in 2020, decided to play football again, and left off playing at a very high level as the season came to an end. So the 3 things I like about him, number 1 is his power and playing through contact. If you're an offensive lineman playing against Phillips, unless you square him up perfectly, he's probably going to get by you at some point. He doesn't let contact from players slow down his path to the ball. Number 2 is his quickness. To have the blend of power and quickness, it is important at the edge position, and he definitely has that. You can see the quickness when watching him, but his 4.13 shuttle run time, which ranks in the 96th percentile, backs it up as well. Number 3, he can get to the passer in multiple ways. He's not just a one move type of guy. He can set you up with his footwork. He has the strength to bull rush you into the quarterback. Also has good leverage and a good change of direction as well. My number 1 concern, of course, is the injury history, but that's by far the biggest issue. Number 4 is Dillon Radunz, the offensive tackle from North Dakota State. So after tearing his ACL in 2017, Radunz went on to start the next 2 seasons at left tackle for North Dakota State. He played in their lone game in 2020 and should be a late first-round pick, early second-round pick in this draft. The number 1 thing I like about him is he's a really good athlete. The guy can do just about everything you want in open space and gets to the second level very easily on run plays. Number 2, he's very explosive. His 113-inch broad jump can back that up, but as you can see, he's the first guy off the line many times and uses that momentum to force his guy sometimes 10 yards beyond the line of scrimmage. Number 3, he plays with some nastiness to him. Once he gets a hold of his man, he's not stopping until he puts him into the ground. I'm sure his next coaching staff will love his play style. My number 1 concern for him is how will he do in pass protection, because he came from a very run-heavy scheme for North Dakota State, and also gets caught leaning forward sometimes too, so that's one thing I'm going to watch out for. Number 5, I have Quinn Meinerz, an interior offensive lineman from Wisconsin and Whitewater. So Meinerz played in a Division III program but proved at the Senior Bowl that he belonged and could play at the next level. His lack of competition is a concern, but it would not shock me if he went in the 2nd or 3rd round. So here's the thing I like about Quinn Meinerz. Number 1, very explosive and quick out of his stance. Whether he's snapping the ball or playing guard, he's so fast out of his stance. If he loses a rep, it's not often because he's slow off the line. Number 2, he has some grown man strength. There are videos of him lifting a bunch of wood and working out in the woods during 2020 when there was no season for him, and that accurately defines the type of player he is. Number 3, he has a great build for an interior offensive lineman. He's 6'3", 320 pounds, 33-inch arms, and hands over 10 inches. He's the prototypical build for a guy in the interior. He also did great at the pro day. He was really good in every drill. So the concern I have, the competition level of course, but sometimes you'll see him get off balance and struggle to redirect and pass protection. Number 6, I have Javonte Williams, the running back from North Carolina. So you hear all this hype for Najee Harris and Travis Etienne, but I think Javonte Williams should be in that conversation as well. Williams averaged 7.3 yards per carry in 2020 along with 22 total touchdowns, but he's more than just a good stat line. The 3 things I like about Javonte Williams, number 1 is he has great balance. He's just like a pinball bouncing off these tacklers and reminds me of the balance that I saw from Clyde Edwards-Helaire out of LSU last year. Number 2, he breaks tackles with ease. He broke 0.48 tackles per attempt, which was a PFF record. He broke 75 tackles in total in 2020. Every running back benefits from a good offensive line, but Williams can make things happen on his own if he needs to. Number 3, he has elusiveness to his game. It somewhat goes hand in hand with his broken tackle ability, but his elusiveness does contribute to that. When he gets defenders off balance, sometimes those easy tackles turn into arm tackles and he slips out of them. My one concern is I don't really have one for Williams, but I guess his workload. He did not have many 20-plus carry games in his career due to the fact he shared a backfield with Michael Carter. Number 7, I have Jamin Davis, the linebacker from Kentucky. So Davis did not play much his first 2 years for some reason, but had a great 2020 season, over 100 tackles and 3 interceptions, and his athletic profile makes him very intriguing. I expect him to be somewhere early in the 2nd round come draft time. So the first thing I like about him, he has the athletic body type and profile to be great. At 6'3", 234, he has ideal size along with 33-inch arms. He ran a 4.37 40-yard dash, a 42-inch vertical leap, and a 132-inch broad jump. The guy is a truly special athlete. Number 2, he's a sure tackler. According to PFF, he only missed 11 tackles on 150 career attempts, and his missed tackle percentage was 7% in 2020, which is also pretty good. Number 3, he has the ability to be good in coverage. He was not asked to do much in coverage for Kentucky, but he has the ability to do it. I've seen him up against Kyle Pitts and other slot receivers, and he definitely held his own while doing so. My one concern is he does not have the most experience, and I'm not sure why it took him 3 years to be a starter for Kentucky. Number 8, I have Levi Onwuzurike, defensive lineman for Washington. So Onwuzurike did not play in 2020, but he showed enough in his first 3 years to make some people think he could be a starting level player in the NFL. He has things to work on and could be more consistent, but the tools are there for sure. So the first thing I like is he gets off the line very quickly. I'm not going to say he gets shot out of a cannon because that's a tough sell for a guy who's nearly 300 pounds, but he does have very special explosiveness in my opinion. Number 2, he has upside as a pass rusher. Some defensive tackles don't really have the ability to get to the quarterback consistently, but Onwuzurike at 290 pounds with his quickness is going to have a chance to have a handful of sacks per year, maybe a bit more, so he definitely needs some more pass rushing moves, but the ability is there. Number 3, he was often used as a nose tackle, which is not a natural position for him, so he did very well despite that. When you're playing nose tackle at 290 pounds, you're severely undersized, but Onwuzurike found a way to still be productive despite playing out of position. My one concern, even though it's kind of 2 concerns, he needs to be more consistent game to game, and he also needs to develop more pass rushing moves. At number 9, I have Ben Cleveland, guard for Georgia. So Cleveland's been the right guard for Georgia since 2018, and although he missed a bowl game due to an academic issue, he's been good for them since that time. He's 6'6", 335 and doesn't have much fat on him, which is a wild body type. The first thing I like, just like Quinn Meinerz, is mentality and nastiness. Cleveland just likes to go out there and hit people as hard as he can, and when they're down, he still wants to put them into the ground. So while it's fun to watch, it would not be fun if it's happening to you. Number 2, he's able to mirror in pass protection pretty well. You would think for a guy his size, he would have some lateral movement issues, but he's actually good on his feet and reacts well. Number 3 is how strong he is. You won't really see Ben Cleveland go overpowered. That's pretty important for an offensive lineman, of course. It makes sense for some someone that big, and although 30 bench reps is really good, it was still pretty underwhelming for Cleveland. My concern for him is locating guys in the second level and squaring them up. It's pretty fixable with some more experience, but it's something you'd hope that he figures out as time goes on. Number 10, I have Osa Odighizuwa, the defensive lineman from UCLA. So Osa's older brother, Owa, once played in the NFL for the Giants, but retired after 2 years. For Osa, he's had a really consistent career, but he's getting better as time goes on. He had his best year in 2020. The first thing I like about him is he has really strong hands. He may be considered undersized, but his hands are so strong where it kind of negates some of that. His 34-inch arms also helps mitigate that concern as well. Number 2 is his consistent production that kept increasing. If you look at Osa's numbers, it's a consistent improvement year to year, and although UCLA played in 7 games in 2020, he still put up his best numbers yet. Number 3 is he has a strong lower body. I mentioned the strength in his hands earlier, but his lower half is just as strong, if not stronger. He always finds a way to keep his legs moving and pushes offensive linemen closer to the quarterback when rushing the passer. My one concern is the scheme fit. I think he's more well suited for a defensive end in a 3-4 defense. I'm sure he could adjust otherwise, but I think that would be best for him. So I wanted to do 10 players, but I left 2 players off this list. I had K. Johnson, a wide receiver from South Dakota State, and tight end Hunter Long from Boston College as well. So leave in the comments players that you're higher on compared to most people. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll talk to you guys next time.